Hello, and welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to another video that is me doing lesser known holidays. Today's holiday is for September, is it the 13th, I believe? I want to say, or no, September 12th. That is National Video Game Day. I'm sorry, I'll have to check that twice, but I should have checked that before I started filming, but I believe it's September 12th. It's National Video Game Day, and I thought I would go over my favorite system today, which is SEGA Genesis. So I have managed to hold on to quite a lot of my Genesis video games that I had for 30 plus years. I believe the system came out in 89, and I played from 89 till about 93, and then I went on to junior high and kind of got out of the video game thing, but I love them so much. I have about 40 games, but I have just chosen 10 of them to go over with you today. Some interesting trivia that I found when kind of looking into SEGA Genesis was I found that after they did some market analysis, SEGA found that the majority of Nintendo's audience were children and preteens and early teenagers, so SEGA would build its market share on more mature audiences, namely older teenagers and adults. So in order to appeal to this demographic, they based the physical appearance of the Genesis on audio players and cars. That's pretty cool. I didn't know that. SEGA felt those two items in particular were popular among older demographics, and that their target audience would, as a result, associate the Genesis with maturity. Now that kind of makes sense because I was a kid who was very mature and kind of precocious, so I was not the target audience for Genesis, but it makes sense that I would like them because I always gravitated towards more adult TV shows and video games and all of that stuff. I was also watching, 90210 when I was 9 years old, so that makes sense. So right now I am just going to insert a couple of the ads, the SEGA Genesis ads that they had out to advertise their product. So I'm just going to insert those right here. So aren't those cool? I just love retro, ads and advertising, especially from the 90s and 80s and even 70s and earlier. But I thought we're just going to jump right into the games that I have chosen to discuss and share with you today. So the first one I think that I'm going to go in for is Altered Beast. Now, Altered Beast is a game that actually came with the SEGA Genesis system. When we got ours, my aunt got her system first, and then we got ours because we loved playing hers so much, like me and my mom. And Altered Beast was the first game that I ever played on the system because it came with the system. I don't think I ever beat it by myself because in 89 I was 8 years old, but I just remember that, power up and how you would change into the beast and then fight the evil zombie creatures and all of this stuff. And it was just so cool. I think this system is the best. Yeah, this is 1989. Let's see what it looks inside. Oh yes, it came with the instruction manuals. I used to love those because little book lover me loved that little instruction manuals came. And that's what the cartridge look like. And it's just crazy for me to imagine I've had this for so long. My brother was born in 1989. He's like, what, 32 now or something? So this is over 30 years old that I've had this, and it still works. And I haven't played it in quite some time, but I should. My mother wants me to get my son into video games because he's a handful. But I said, well, I don't know. I don't want him to be one of those kids that is always playing video games. Because even though I loved video games, I played them obviously before social media. So I still got a lot of playing outdoors time, because, we didn't have as many options. Obviously, we didn't have cell phones and stuff like that. So it was a fun diversion, but it's not something I did all day. You went to school, you did some of this, I listened to music, I played outside, but yeah, so maybe one day my son will play these games. So, but this is the first, as far as I know, this is the first video game I ever played. So I thought I had to share that one with you first. And this is the second game that I played. This one was Ghouls and Ghosts. And this one, I think I did win this one by myself. I don't know. As a little girl, I would get help from my mother or my aunt because I would get really, like nervous and itchy and sweating and scratching and just a nervous wreck playing my games. And then they would come in and help me get past a certain part. And then I would come back and finish it. But this one is, I believe it's also 89. Yep, it was also 89 because this was the second game that I got. And so let's see, they had to, let's see what it comes like. Let's see how it comes like. I don't know that it comes with a poster. This one didn't come with a poster. I used to love when they would come with posters though, because then the poster, what it would have is it would have a picture of like the cover art on one side, and then the other side would have like a list of all the games you could buy. And I would look at them and say, okay, for my next birthday or for my next Christmas, I want this one, this one, this one. I would make like a list according to like the posters that came in the game, but this one didn't come with a poster. I don't know if I'll open all of them, but maybe some of them will. But I love this game because I'm trying to remember the way it ends. I think one, like he gets the princess and one of them has blue hair and one of them has orange hair, and I used to think, oh, their babies will have purple hair. I just remember thinking that. But yeah, this just brings me back to being 8 years old and playing this game, and this was like, it'd be frustrating at parts, but this was a very satisfying game. I really enjoyed this one. Did any of you guys play Ghouls and Ghosts in the SEGA Genesis? That's a second game. So, and I think I mentioned, but I don't remember if I mentioned, so I'm going to say it again. I have about 40 Genesis games, so I just pulled about 10. So now, Castle of Illusion. This one's really near and dear to my heart. This one might be my favorite, my top favorite Genesis game, because I played this one a lot, and I remember winning it. And so it's Mickey Mouse, and he goes through all these magnificent lands, and the music, it's very inspired by like Fantasia and Disney in general, and just really cute. Like there's like a Candyland type room, and he's trying to get to, I'm sorry if there's gonna be some abrupt editing, but I film my videos anywhere from about midnight to 3 in the morning, and I still live with some sick people who cough really badly. They're really bad smokers, and they've been very, very ill lately, and so, but enough of that. Getting back to this game. Of course, I mean, let's see, what year was it? 1990. I was 9 years old, so still very much into Disney. And this is just a game that I think even if you aren't a child, you will love it. Like they said, they tried to market it towards adults, but yet they did do a lot of child theme games. And just the art was beautiful, the colors were beautiful. I just feel like it just blew Nintendo out of the park. But I was also, I think, one of the only people I knew that had Sega Genesis growing up. Everyone else I knew had like Game Boy or Nintendo or like, you know, the other system. And I don't know why. I mean, I know it's more expensive, but I went to private school with a bunch of kids that had more money than me. So I don't know why they didn't have Sega Genesis and I did. But anyways, this one I remember as one of my absolute favorite videos. I mean, video games. So, and of course, Michael Jackson's Moonwalker, you guys. Now, let's see. This one came out 90. So it came out a couple years, I think, after the video for Smooth Criminal. But it was inspired by his Smooth Criminal video, as you can tell by the cover. Michael was just, I mean, there's never been another artist as big as him. So for him to have a Sega Genesis game, for those two to collaborate, was major. Like, Michael even had his own candy bars back then. That's how huge he was. And this video game, it was great. It was very Michael. His songs were in every level. Again, this is one that I do remember winning and completing, probably with the help of my mother or my aunt. And so, like, you get to dance. I don't think there's any real fighting because Michael didn't want to like portray violence, or the makers didn't. I don't remember the story, but it was just an awesome game. And it was just there's like I think there was one level where like it's inspired by Thriller, and you know, all of his big hits from all his albums at the time. So it's one of those. I do remember, I think that they had the arcade game. Did they used to have it in Disneyland and Tomorrowland? Most of you guys have probably been to Disneyland. I don't know if you're from the West Coast or not, but I think it was at Disneyland in that like arcade. It escapes me the name of it, but in Tomorrowland, that kind of rings a bell. But I do remember playing the arcade version as well, and that being freaking cool. But yeah, this was an absolute fave, so I had to share it with you. Oh yeah, look, it comes with a poster. I don't know if I want to undo the poster now because I'm trying to get through this video. But yeah, so see, it has like options of other games that you can buy if you look in here. I'm not going to do the whole thing. Oh, it's ripped. One of my little brothers probably ripped it because I was more conscientious than that. I know I would not have ripped it, but the fact that I even still have these, I just had to dig these out of storage from my mother's house. But yeah, so I'm a big Michael Jackson fan, so this was just, you know, it was just, I had to have it. So love. And this one was Forgotten Worlds. Now, I think a lot of people, when they see me, they think I'm really girly and they think maybe I'm a little glam or whatever, but I really have my boyish side, and I really loved this video game, Forgotten Worlds. It's like this blonde white guy in blue and this black guy in red, and so it's just like aliens are attacking the planet and they're having to like save it, and this one's in '89 also, and this one had really great graphics. Gosh, I feel like I wish I could like insert like clips, but I don't know if I'm allowed to do that. I don't know about copyright issues, but clips of the game. If you haven't seen it, then do your own research and Google, or perhaps I'm telling you what you already know. Perhaps you have these games or you do remember them. Forgotten Worlds was one of my favorite, and so I believe it was one of those where two players could play. Let me see. Either you were both guys or you played with two players. I don't even remember, you guys. This is what, is it 32 years ago? Something like that, but the graphics were awesome. If you're an OG, you remember this. So, for National Video Game Day, I'm just having to pull out all the cool stuff, the best system in my opinion. So, and then over here we have Ghostbusters. This one is such a cute game, you guys. I wish it showed more in the back, but they did such a good job of recreating the actors, you know, the way they looked, except they made them look all short and squatty like little dwarfs. but they recreate Slimer and the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, and going down the fireman pole and going in houses and getting ghosts and goblins and fighting all of that. And this is a real fun one. This like I said, I pulled out some of my favorites, and I actually left a lot of my favorites behind, but I didn't want to do more than 10, show more than 10 in this video. So I'm just sharing with you the 10 that I have. Ghostbusters. Any Ghostbusters fans out there? If you are, you gotta get the SEGA Genesis game, because I'm telling you, it's freaking cool. It's freaking awesome. I think other systems like Nintendo would try to do their own versions, and I never liked their versions as much as the Genesis versions. So that's my opinion. This is the best system in my opinion. But I feel that even though it was so popular, like I said, I didn't know many people that played Genesis. Most people were into Nintendo, but just like the advertisement says, Sega does what Nintendo don't. So that's my opinion. But yeah, this was absolutely one of my favorites. A very, very cool game. And cool spot. It's the 80s or the 90s when they're getting like food mascots and giving them video games, right? So cool spot was from 7-Up. God, I miss the days when I can drink soda. I can't anymore because of my gastritis, but this game was adorable. Let's see the year. 93, I think. So 93, this was about the last year that I was playing video games, but it says charge, blast, and hurtle through this fun and frantic adventure without losing your cool or your shades. As Cool Spot, you'll stop at nothing to rescue your spot buddies when they get snatched by powers uncool. Shoot the curl, get loco on a runaway train, and whip through a stomach-dropping roller coaster ride in a carbonated quest to chill out your foes. So it was very inspired by the early 90s with the surfer slang and very California culture. And now I know that decades are different things for different people depending on where you live, but for those of us on the West Coast, early 90s was very surfer. That movie, what's the name of the movie with Patrick Swayze and Keanu Reeves? Just surfer culture was really big. Even the Ninja Turtles, the way they spoke, cowabunga, all of that. So they pulled a lot of that in with Cool Spot and made him like a cool surfer dude, and he's trying to save his Cool Spot friends. And the art was just amazing, brilliantly colored, very early 90s style, and look how hip and cool it still looks after all these years, right? Sega Genesis has stayed fresh. It's not dated. It's still freaking awesome. So I highly encourage you to play it. If you don't play Sega Genesis, you gotta give it a try. And then of course, Beavis and Butthead. Now let me see what year this is, because I want to say 94. So I guess I was still playing maybe in 94, but I was 13 at the time, and that's when I really got into Beavis and Butthead. I am such a fan, and I went to a private school. I went to private schools my whole life, and everybody there was really conservative, and the girls were like, ew, Beavis and Butthead. I was the only girl that dug Beavis and Butthead. I had all the merch. I had books and toys and dolls and probably t-shirts and everything, and when the movie came out in 97, I was 16, and my dad took me to see it at the theater, so I was a fan. And the Beavis and Butthead game is cool because it looked exactly like the cartoon. I mean, they they're at school, and then their living room and where they work, it's like Burger World, I think it was called. It was supposed to be like Burger King, but like all the places that they went in the cartoon are in the video game. It was just freaking awesome. So 90s, so cool. And it's crazy because my mother was very permissive with what I got to watch, but I have friends that are around my age that weren't allowed to watch this, and then in their mid-30s they finally got around to watching it. I'm like, that sucks that you couldn't watch it when it was new, that you had to wait till you were a full-fledged adult. But I was lucky to live in a household where Beavis and Butthead was okay and acceptable, and I love rock music and metal, so they would watch a lot of videos of rock and metal, and they were all very into it. So this video game is right up my alley. It's so cute. It's funny. It's funny pretending to be them and, you know, kicking things and everything that you do in the game. But this was a cool game. And then in Sector X. Now this was another boyish one, as I say, that I really loved. I mean, I guess a lot of my favorites were boyish games. Let's see what it says. What year? 89 again. So this must have been one of my ones from the first year. They're gonna bug you to death. Compared to these guys, killer bees are about as scary as a butterfly. In this awesome insect empire, you've got to be a fast gun. No can of bug spray will help you here. These giant mechanized insects mean business. Become too enthralled with the beautiful landscape and your daydreams could become a nightmare. So yeah, so like you're killing these like robot insects and shooting at them and flying through the air, and it just feels, it's one of those games where like you feel like you're doing what they're doing as you're playing it. Like you feel like you're flying through the air. And again, I have not played it in eons, but I do remember it being a very like satisfying game. You know, when games just feel very satisfying because it's like, it's not easy, but it's not overly difficult, and you get the groove, you know, and you keep going, you keep playing, and so yeah, I really love this one. And then the last one I'm going to show you for tonight is based on the 1989 film Batman, the best Batman movie ever. I think the two Burton ones are my favorites. And I know a lot of kiddos and Gen Z kids will disagree with me, but no, you guys, it all started with this original Bat. Burton is really the one that gave rise to all the others that came along. His vision, there's Michael Keaton. His vision really was the best, and I really don't think any of the 21st century Batman films would have been made had the 89 and 92 films not been made. So you got to give him a lot of credit. The video game's awesome. I mean, the art is phenomenal. You know, Vicky Vale and the Joker and Batman, and a lot of the scenes from the film are recreated in the video game. You know, so that's awesome. That's cool. Yeah, I loved when they made Sega Genesis games based off of films, because they did such a phenomenal job with it. So, you know, if you haven't seen this one, Google Sega Genesis Batman. You know, and I guess it was it? And oh, okay, the game came out in '91, so 2 years after the film. But Google it if you want to see some images of it, because it's very incredible. So. And that's all 10 of the games that I just wanted to chat for a little bit about. I know I don't think I chatted too long. We'll see when I edit this video how long it is. But I just wanted to get this video done for the National Video Game A Day holiday and put that in the playlist along with the others. If you're a video game fan, did you enjoy this? Was it like a trip down memory lane for you? Was it nostalgic? Please comment down below. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much for watching. I hope it was relaxing. I hope it was interesting. And I'll see you soon, okay?